afternoon, everyone. I'm Rajiv Jayaraman, the founder CEO of KNOLSKAPE, a Singapore and Bangalore-based software company focusing on management training, assessments, and research. And I'm also a visiting faculty at SP Jain Center of Management in Singapore and Dubai. It's a great honor to be here in front of you all, talking about something that I'm really passionate about. And what I've been doing in the last 4 years since my graduation from INSEAD is me along with my team, we are trying to bring experience back inside the classroom. Now we are all aware of the Gurukul method of education. It was born here, right in India. And if you really read about what Gurukul system was all about, the learner was immersed in the learning environment. The learner learned through listening, observing, and also by doing. That's how mastery was attained. But over time, due to the needs of the industrial age, we had to quickly ramp up and scale up our workforce. The experience part slowly took the backseat, and learning by listening, which is the easiest way of transferring knowledge, started taking precedence. So in the last 4 years, we've been trying to bring back experience inside the classroom. And we've been working with a lot of top-tier B schools, starting from INSEAD to Kellogg to ISB, IIT Ghaziabad. So we've been co-creating a lot of simulations to bring back that level of engagement and excitement back into the classroom. Now, to start off on a humorous note, when I first started this company, my relatives, especially the elderly ones, had difficulty understanding what is it that I was trying to do. Right? So I had to come up with a nice little story for them. And we are all aware of what the story is all about. It starts with the first family of the Hindu religion. And there was a contest, right? And the contest was all about who goes around the world the fastest between the two brothers. Was it Ganesha or is it Kartikeya, Muruga? And the minute the contest was announced, Muruga hopped onto his mode of transportation, which is a peacock, and off he went. And Ganesha didn't have a faster mode of transportation, he had a mouse, right? So Ganesha went around his parents and emerged as the winner. We all know the story. Let's pause here for a minute and think, what did Ganesha do? He simulated world travel. And to us, Ganesha is the father of simulations. And in our own way, we have been simulating real-world businesses. And humor aside, what is it that we are trying to do? We are trying to compress the learning cycle, shorten it, create that level of excitement and engagement, create an experience that stays with the learner for a long enough time. Right? That's the benefit of using a simulation inside the classroom. That said, there are a lot of other interesting ways to bring experience inside the classroom. Right? You can have guest speakers, you can have industry engagements. To me, what is appealing about simulations is, firstly, the learner is learning by himself. Through experience, there is no one teaching him. The video that you shared with us earlier was brilliant. There the students were asking for the liberty to learn by themselves. That is what simulations do for you. So, let me share a few eye-opening statistics with you, starting with this one. We, as the human race, we spend billions of hours playing games every week, right? That's an eye-opening statistic. So imagine the amount of impact that we can create if we can infuse a little bit of learning while students are doing their gameplay. But how about this one? A lot of studies have shown that by the time the learner gets into an MBA classroom, they would have spent 10,000 hours playing video games. I have a 2-year-old daughter, and I know how she learns. She uses her smartphone. She can unlock my smartphone, play Angry Birds, lock it up, and give it back to me. And by the time these students come into your classroom, if you're going to deliver a 90-minute lecture, that's going to be torturous for the students, it's going to be torturous for you because there is no connection. And as Malcolm Gladwell in his book spoke about, 10,000 hours roughly translates to 10 years. And it takes anyone 10 years to attain mastery in any field. So by the time they arrive into your classroom, they have attained mastery in a field. So why not make use of that? And this is another eye-opening stat. 91% of school-going kids in the US play video games. And the number in India is growing as well. It is catching up. Now, I'll just briefly touch upon three themes. The first theme is the clash of generations. The second is the era of edutainment. And the third is producing future-ready leaders. Clash of generations. We usually think of the digital divide in the context of rural and urban, right? But there is a different flavor of digital divide, and that happens inside the classroom. I'm a professor as well. And when I started, I was falling prey to it. And the divide is that on the one hand, on the student side, you have the digital natives. These are people that are growing up with technology. And on the other, you have the professor that has been trained in the pre-digital era, paper and pencil. And the two generations actually get into a clash right inside the classroom. And this is what you have. A bored student who doesn't connect with the topic. It doesn't mean you're a bad professor or you don't know what you're talking about. It's just that the connection doesn't exist. Now let's do a short exercise. I'm going to show you a few words and we'll do a mental map, or you come up with the image that first comes into your head. When I say the word apple, what comes to your head? So if the fruit came to your head, you are a digital immigrant. Whereas if the tech giant came to your head, you're a digital native. Let's do this. A few more examples. How about a BlackBerry? A phone? If you're thinking of the fruit, you're a digital immigrant. If you're thinking of the device, you're a digital native. How about a tablet? If you're thinking of this, you are a digital immigrant. Whereas if you're thinking of this really cool device, you're a digital native. How about the wall? What comes to your head? Young people from the back are saying Facebook, but I'm sure some of us were thinking of a brick wall, or probably Rahul Dravid, right? Or a firewall, good one. Facebook wall, right? So right here inside this room, you see the difference. There are people thinking from the traditional mindset. There are people thinking about the new terms. And so there is a gap inside the classroom. How do we bridge this gap? There are various ways of doing it. What we believe in is gaming and simulations are a great way to bridge this gap, where you become young. You play a game with the students. And you learn from them as much as they learn from you. Unless you get on the same level with them, the connect doesn't happen. So we believe, and my experience as a prof using simulations in various preschools has shown me that it is spectacular. At the end of the class, they put a hand around me and said, "Prof, that was awesome." So I have melted away the barrier that existed between a prof and a student. The second is the era of edutainment. I firmly believe that education is following the trend of entertainment. We are probably lagging behind by about 5 to 7 years. So if we recall the old Doordarshan days, if there was a program, when I was growing up, there was a serial called Nukkad. Yes? And if you missed that program, you cannot get it back. There were no reruns. Right? It was gone. But today it is impossible for you to miss any program because there are so many channels. If you miss it on TV, your TiVo, the set-top box catches it. If you miss it there, you get it on YouTube. So what we have effectively done is we have broken down the space-time barrier that existed with entertainment. And if you look at our classrooms today, we still have that space and time constraint. If you miss a lecture at 9 o'clock inside the classroom, it's gone. But if you look at it, already there are different models coming into play. Khan Academy, edX, which is an MIT and Harvard collaboration, Coursera, which is Stanford, Princeton, and a lot of other Ivy League schools coming together. Udacity is a startup that came out of Stanford. They are offering courses not for a classroom full of 60 students. Udacity launched a course on artificial intelligence that attracted 150,000 students. And they were able to serve them. So we are effectively breaking down the space-time barrier. That is the future. And so what this results in is we are now tapping into the long tail of education. If you have great content, you have a space constraint. That constraint is gone because of technology. Now you are able to address the long tail. But the catch here is, it's only the content that has scaled up in this model. What we do as part of KNOLSKAPE is we try to scale up experience as well. And through games, we believe that the same experience that a Harvard student gets, a local student can also get. And so that has been our mission the last 4 years. Producing future-ready managers, I spoke about this in my TEDx talk a few months ago. Pilots have a flight simulator. Doctors have a cadaver, a dead body to work on before they are allowed to operate on a live patient. Sachin Tendulkar, in the morning, practices in a safe learning environment. And that's how he is a master at his art. How about managers? Where is our safe learning environment? At best, what we are doing is we are groping this big black elephant because our decision making is based on trial and error. We need to change this. And we need to change this because today we are managing our economy looking backwards. 2008 crisis happens. It's not until 2010 that we realize what happened to us. And then once we're ready to fix it, the next one has already hit us. Right? So that is not sustainable. We need managers who can look into the future, simulate the possibilities, and be responsible for the decisions they take. A quick update on what we have been doing. Today we are launching our leadership simulation. In the earlier part of the day we spoke about how leadership is a major theme. We've solved it. We have a simulation here within 2 hours, gives an intense experience to students. End of it they get a report on their leadership style and the deficiencies they have. And we are open for demos later. Risk management, an area where we can teach the participant 1 full day, but end of the day they don't know where to start. Unless you give them the experience, they are not ready for it. And speaking about assessments, we have developed an assessment for these schools where you can accurately measure the skill set of the students and give them advice on what to focus on. I would like to leave you with this thought. To experience is to learn. Everything else is just information. Thank you so much for the opportunity.